On today's episode, I'm going to take you on a tour of my studio. Many of you may not know the backstory of my studio space. When I first started doing upholstery back in 2012, I started in my garage, and during the cold months I was in my bedroom, and so it just didn't work at all. It's too hot in the garage in the summer. I live in Texas, and my bedroom, well, that's not an ideal place to have a studio. So I finally had one built in my backyard. I just had a shell built. It was a 10 by 16 building. I didn't have any heat or any air conditioning, so I put in a window unit, and over time my husband and I added some insulation to that side, so it made it a little bit more comfortable. But it was really cold in the winter because it does get cold here for a few days. So a few years after that, I decided to add on to my space because it was just getting too small. And if I wanted to have anyone come over and maybe do some painting for me or help me out a little bit, I needed a bigger studio. I added on another 10 by 16. So now I have double the space, and it almost feels like I need to up that space again, but I'm super happy with it. I want to show you some of the tricks and things that I do to keep myself organized, to keep all my fabrics organized. So stay tuned for this episode. I'm taking on a very special tour of my studio. I hope you enjoy it. Okay, let's check out my workshop where I get all of the work done. So we started with just one side. I had it built by some builders, and we had this for about 4.5 years, and I outgrew the space pretty quickly. So we just added on the same amount onto the other side. I believe it's like a 16 by 10. One thing I didn't want to do is I wanted to make sure that it didn't look like a double wide trailer. So we set back the second half by about 6 inches to kind of make it look more like a cottage rather than a trailer. Okay, so this is the side that I started with first in my workshop, my studio. What we did is we just did a shiplap look in here. I added some lights. Of course, I have an antique chandelier because I like chandeliers. That's important to me. And so everything I have in here is an important storage space. I have tons of filing cabinets. These filing cabinets file away all my fabrics. I try to color coordinate them or put them into certain kind of patterns. If I have all my florals will be in one, my pink fabrics in another, and so on. I have an armoire here who holds a lot of my supplies, my paints. I keep a lot of my special orders and custom order fabrics when I get them from clients and we've ordered them. I put them in these bins so that they're ready to go when I get to their orders. So I try to keep everything very organized as much as possible. Alongside, you'll see throughout my studio, I love to have fabric swatches. While I'm in here working, I'm constantly thinking about, that pattern might look good with something else. And so I get the glimpse of the pattern or the fabric or the colors, and I start brainstorming what I could do on another set of chairs. So it's always great. I have this Mexican hutch that came from Mexico. I got it from a neighbor who wanted just to get rid of it, so we hauled it across the street, about 4 of us. It's heavy. And I decided I wanted to put all my authentic textiles and really brightly colored fabrics that were embroidered. So this is where I house everything, but it also serves as inspiration for me. And so I can see the colors that I have ready on hand. So I'm always looking for ways to organize my fabrics. You'll see over here I have some old tobacco leaf drying racks, and so I simply just took those, I hung them on the wall. I got them in an old antique shop up in Missouri, and so I like to hang my fabrics on those. They just serve as great little reminders of colors and textures that I really love. I also use like old garbage cans, and so these garbage cans are great for when I have my bolts of fabric that need to stay on the bolt because I have more than a yard. I don't want to fold them up for whatever reason. They may be a velvet or something like that, so I'll just kind of put them in this garbage can. That works great. Again, I have an old fence gate, and decided, hey, this would be really great for hanging my fabrics too. So I just take old-fashioned clothespins and pin them up. And when I'm tired of a fabric, or if a fabric is out of been discontinued or something, I just get rid of it and I'll pin something else up new. But I like to think in terms of color schemes and different kinds of patterns and what I can put together. So that's a lot of fun. One of my favorite tools is this air compressor. It is a quiet air compressor. It's not really quiet, but it's quiet as air compressors go. And so it still does make some great noise, but it's a big enough tank that I can get quite a bit done on a chair before it has to happen to go off. So that's a great thing. One thing I really love about this side of my shop is that I have some storage. Now, originally, the design of this building was meant to have half of this be a storage all the way down, but I wanted this space to be taller to make it feel more airy. So we negotiated and I said, can I put two storages on either side? And so that's what I do. And I keep all my foam, extra chair frames up on this side. I have my Dacron and my cotton and bolts, big bolts of fabric on the other side. And it just keeps it up and away. I just have a step ladder. I just pull out and I grab things down when I need to. And when I want to clean up, it all goes back up there. Okay, so my very first logo, I knew my name was going to be Chair Whimsy back in 2012, but my very first logo I had done by a friend who was a co-worker where I used to work as an educational consultant, and she was a designer. And so this was the logo that we came up with. She did a great job on it. My logo has evolved throughout the years, but this was the original. And I had a big painting done of it, and then of course I had some embroidery done to put it on a chair or something like that, but that's a lot of fun. I like to keep my different art here as well as a fan to kind of get some more air blowing throughout the space, but some of this art I had painted of my chairs. Of course you're going to see some Fridas here along because I have my Frida chair, so this is my newest one. So I do like to keep those Fridas up just for inspiration. I love them. These were actually painted by my daughter. Really love them. I have the original paintings in my home. When we decided to add on to this space, we took out, there was a window right here, same as what's on the other side, and I actually had just a window unit air conditioner. No heat at the time, but the air conditioner was real important. I'm here in Texas, it gets really hot. So what we did is we took out the window, we cut open into the wall and added on 6 inches back so it looked kind of like more of a cottage than it looks like a big trailer. I had some, of course, architectural pieces that I had in my garage that I got from salvage yards. I decided, hey, let's just decorate with that. So we did, and then we added on the same amount of space down here. You just do a little step down, and in this space, it's a little different than the other space where it's more rustic over on this side with the shiplap and the flooring. Over here, we have a little bit of fun. We have the checkered laminate flooring that I got at a local hardware store. I have really fun wallpaper. I've added a refrigerator for snacks and drinks. I have really old architectural pieces in here as far as shutters, and I just added pops of color that I really love. Another place where I like to put my fabrics is on this picture frame. So this was an old picture frame. I simply painted the glass with chalkboard paint, painted the frame, and I hung it, and then I just put pieces of cork up on it where I pin my fabrics, and then this is how I showcase my different collections of chairs, how I'm brainstorming things so I don't forget when I have to order more. And so it's something that I can erase the chalk and come up with all new collections, but it's just another great visual, and I'm a very visual learner. So this was important to me to have something like this here, and it was really cheap. Because I love color and I wanted to do something a little unexpected, I came up with this really fun little deer head. I covered it in one of my favorite Designer Guild fabrics that I had, and it just adds a pop of color and whimsy into my shop. Makes me really happy to see it. When we built this side of my shop, we incorporated an old antique window and an antique door. They were both oval over here. We wanted to kind of change the boxy look from the outside, so we did some oval pieces. And the builders were great. They just built right around it. It made it perfect. I have some art that is just vintage inspired art right here using an old window frame that I got, as well as just a really fun piece of art that I found in a junk store for 12 bucks. Back when I built my other side of my shop, and I was super happy with this. I think that's what I'm going to look like when I get old. So, you know, I'm not old yet, but I'm getting there. So that's a fun piece. Just recently, I got my pink fridge. I really love this. I keep my snacks, my drinks in it out here. Plus, who doesn't need a pink fridge, right? Everyone does. Not too long ago, I added wallpaper to this end of my shop. It used to be just white. I would kind of layer fabrics down, but I just decided, you know, let's do something really bold and crazy and fun. And I got to tell you, this is the best money I've ever spent. I love this wallpaper. It makes me so happy when I'm in here, and it is very busy. But honestly, it like goes with everything. Every color is a part of it. You can totally do it. So it's a little extra, but it's definitely worth. So I do like to just hang fabrics on the wall. Again, this is my source of inspiration. I have all different patterns and textures, things that I think I might want to use on some future chair collections that I'm putting together. So I like to just hang them on this wall. They're above my sewing machine. You know, this is where I have to sew my double welt cord and things like that. So I love having them in view. It just helps my creativity and my imagination to be able to run wild and crazy. So I really need to have these visuals all around me. Now, because I had some extra wallpaper, I decided to cover my filing cabinet, which I got for like 10 bucks online. So you can get filing cabinets anywhere. And the great thing about it is that, you know, I try to house all my fabrics in these. So I put them color coded in here. And they're just a great way to keep them out of sight if I need to, but I know that I can grab them whenever I need. So this little shirt was something that my grandmother embroidered for me when I was little. She did a lot of embroidery. I have one of her blankets on my bed upstairs and some of her pillows and pillowcases. But this was something that she did for myself and my brothers when we were little. We all had our shirt made that she embroidered. She put little things on the front. So I wore this as a little kid, and not too long ago got it from my mom and said, oh yes, I want this for sure. So now it's hanging in my shop. Wasn't that so much fun? I just love this space. I'm so grateful for it. Trust me, after working in my garage, and many of you kind of do the same thing, so you know what I'm talking about. I hope it inspired you with great ideas. Listen, if you liked this episode, be sure to let me know. Leave comments below if you have any other questions for me, or if there's other things that you'd like for me to cover. I would love to serve you better. Until next time, friends, and don't forget, my Ugly Chair Challenge starts on Wednesday this week, and that is a challenge that's all about how to design your chairs with amazing fabrics so that you get showstoppers every single time. I hope you'll join me in the Ugly Chair Challenge. It's only $10, and you will have a blast and walk away with so many ideas. The link is in the description below. I'll see you next week, friends.